I haven't checked the X-Men 1 yet. So an X-Men 1, 9.2. This one went for 156,000. I had this one going for 145,000. Now it's down from its peak. Its peak sale was 305,000 during the comic boom, but this still going for 11,000 more than my estimate. I feel like just a solid sale, like a respectable sale for this book. Wow, the same X-Men 192 that just hammered for 156 sold for 276, 40% drop. So that's the thing. I don't really think of it that way. So yes, because I know like that's where it's tricky with comics, especially with the pricing on books that don't sell all that often, is that it looks like, oh, this was a big drop in that book. But the reality is, because if you just joined, I talked about that one earlier today or earlier in the video. And so like that X-Men number 1, I had estimated it was going to sell for 145,000. And so to me, that was actually a strong sale. Like it sold for 156,000, beat my estimate by 11,000. Not super strong, but a solid sale beating my estimate. And it's because with these books, especially the ones that don't sell all that often, you can't price the book based on its last sale. And so like if we go look at X-Men number 1, so we go look at X-Men number 1, you can't price these books that don't sell all that often based on their last sale, because you can see here, like X-Men number 1 and a 9.2. Yeah. So here you have, let's see, am I looking at the right one? I feel like I'm not looking at the right one. Because yeah, the high was 250. Oh, 305. That's what it is. Okay. So we had the high. Yeah. So it was probably this same book is what you're saying, that the high was 305, but that book sold for 276. But so like that was 2022. We haven't had a sale in that book for 3 years. But if you look at every other grade, that's kind of how I end up pricing this stuff out. That's one of the ways that I look at books that don't sell all that often. It's something you absolutely have to do when you're pricing out Golden Age books, just because you may never have the same grade come up for sale again. And so what I'm always doing is I'm looking at, what other copies sold around 2022. What was that book going for? And then how much have those dropped since then? And so if I see, like if I looked, I don't remember what I did for this one, but if I looked at a 7.5 and saw that in 2022, it was going for, you can see here, going for anywhere from 57 to 85. And then what do I think it would go for now based on more recent sales at 31? Like that book was down 40, 50%. And that's how I end up pricing those books. And so, yes, there was a big drop in that book, but to me, it was actually a solid sale because it went higher than what I thought it would based on the drops in other grades. So just something that I'm always thinking about with that, especially like that's something, like I said, I have to do with Golden Age. And that really also applies when you're talking about high grade silver, just because those don't come up for sale hardly ever as well. I mean, high grade bronze comes up pretty regularly, high grade copper. I mean, like you'll see 9.8 ASM 129s and 9.8 giant size X-Men 1s and that kind of stuff come up fairly regularly. But high grade Silver Age like that just doesn't. It's usually also once every few years or a couple of years that you might see it. So you've got to price it in a very similar way. Fantastic Four 9.2 sale versus the last sale. Oh yeah, I was interested in seeing what that would go for. Let's see, what did it? Let's jump up and see that one. It actually beat what I thought it would do. So I'll say that. So we've got this comment here, Ryan McWilliams, that Fantastic Four 9.2 sale versus the last sale to be expected. Oh man. Yes. So this one sold for 600,000. This book right here, Fantastic Four #1, White Mountain Pedigree 9.2. The record during the comic boom was 1.5 million. However, I had estimated that I thought it was going to sell for 500,000. I was expecting that book to take a massive, massive hit, and it did 600,000. So I would say if you're the seller, I mean, yeah, you see the $1.5 million sale, and that's disappointing from the comic boom period. But in my opinion, for what it went for, I think it was actually a pretty solid sale. So I don't think that, I mean, hopefully don't be too disappointed about that, because I mean, comic boom prices just aren't the prices anymore, right? And some books just went absolutely crazy, had some crazy high sales, and that one was one of them. And then we had the Fantastic Four #5, also a 9.2. First Doom went for 108,000. Let's see. 108,000. What did I have that one going for? Where are you at? I had it going for 100,000. So, I mean, 8% over my estimate. But that's, I mean, for all intents and purposes, that's about, right in line. So let's see. We've got some other Silver Age that sold. We had this Hulk 1 in a 9.2. That did really well. I'll say that did really well. Let's open that one up. I did not think this book would get this close to replicating that last 9.2 sale. So 780,000. I had this going for, let me find it. I had it going for 550. I thought this was going to take a big haircut from the prior record of 825. And because we hadn't seen a 9.2 sell in a long time. Here, let's look it up just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So we had a 9.2, I think it was last year, that sold for 825,000. And so you can see here, 9.2 hadn't sold for 6 years. It had a huge jump in that period. And so more than double. And so I thought we were going to see a pretty big drop back down, because that's what we've seen in most other grades, if not all other grades. In that same period, we've seen a decent drop back down for that book. And because we had two kind of come up within, I mean, a year and a half, it's a long time, but it's not that long. And so two of these 9.2s coming up, I thought it was going to take a hit, and really didn't that much. I mean, 780,000. If I was the seller of that book, I would be extremely happy with that number. I think that is a very solid number for that book. I didn't price this one out, but I want to check this one out. So we've got Sergeant Fury #1. Sold for 78,000, a 9.4. I know this book is extremely difficult in high grade. Let's see what so there's 8 and 9.4, none higher. So it is the highest. It's top of census, but it's not single highest graded. I don't know if I've ever seen a 9.4 of that book sell. I feel like the highest I ever really see is like maybe a 9. But let's see here. So we had a 9. There was a 9.4 in 2024 in December, but one hadn't sold before that for 13 years. So we had in 2024, 120,000. What did this one go for? 78,000. So yeah, there's the risk of buying in when you haven't seen a book sell for 13 years, and then you get a big number like that, and it pulls out, some of those other copies. Like there's 8 copies out there. I think that's what I said. I think it was 8. 9.4. Yeah, there's 8 copies out there. And if somebody sees a book sell for 120,000, they'll put theirs up. So I'm not surprised it dropped. I feel like that's a pretty big drop. I probably would have put it at like 90 or 100, somewhere in there. Like I would have expected some drop, but seeing a drop of 42,000, that is a pretty significant drop, in my opinion, for that one.